Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. We finally get to play the MapleStory Global exclusive class, Sia Astelle. This new int mage is all the rage. Her level 3 link skill gives 10% buff duration and 3% critical rate, great for most mages and classes like Dark Knight. And her legion effect increases damage against monsters with abnormal statuses. And who doesn't apply abnormal statuses these days? I think she's pretty useful. But how is she? How is her mobbing? Her bossing? How does she even work? Let's find out. Sia is part of a new race that doesn't share her cash shop with anyone. And for the more seasoned maplers, her tutorial will feel a bit rough. As of the time of this video, you cannot hyper-teleport rock anywhere or even use return kills in like any map. Sia herself has a teleportation skill, an upjump, and she can float in the air. She has a passive magic guard and needs to toggle on her first job skill starlight at all times. So when you go fight bosses like, I don't know, kill zakum, make sure it's not turned off, which would obviously never happen to me. Sia uses a stellar marking. Here you can record different markings. In total she has 5 markings: Ray, Boom, Pole, Link and Shine. During her first job advancement we only have access to Ray, and registering only Rays in your stellar marking creates the skill Antares. This is a rabid black hole which sucks in monsters and deals damage. You can have up to 4 of these summons active at a time. They last for 11 seconds if you use your stellar marking and refresh every 10 seconds. You can also use this skill as is, but then your rabid black hole will only last for 6 seconds. This goes for every skill that is activated on the marking board. You can either use a combination of stellar marking attacks or just use the skill as is. The tutorial doesn't take too long and the art is neat, but I did only reach level 29.5, so I had to grind the remaining 50% to get the job advancement. All other job advancements are very fast though, which is very nice. With the second job advancement, Sia also gets her first buff. A celestial alignment increases your critical damage by 10% for 80 seconds. A bit of a weird timer on that buff, but nothing that's on pad without a buff can't fix. She also gets a new stellar marking called Boom and a new fusion skill called Algol. This lizard bounces around the map attacking monsters. Overall, for the first 4 job advancements, I gotta say, Sia is a really nice grinder. With her black hole and lizard bouncing around, I found myself more often than not just waiting for monsters to respawn because I already cleared out the map. Last time, with my Wild Hunter, I leveled up by completing the main quest line, but since we got 4 times EXP coupons from the compensation box, I was just grinding this time around. It took around 40 minutes to reach level 200. With the third job advancement, we learned Pole. This is another stellar marking skill. It summons a star on the ground that stays for 3 seconds, it deals damage and has a 5-second cooldown. We also learn 3 new fusion skills, but one of them is just using Pole once, so that's pretty easy. The other 3 require Boom 3 times and then Pole, and one is Ray Ray Boom Pole. You can also use the skill as is, but the thing is, each time you activate a skill through the correct combination of stellar marking attacks, you get an additional effect, and those are pretty good, like additional stats for buffs or additional buff duration, and some attacks last longer or attack more often. Like always, we grind at monsters about 20 levels higher than the character that we're on. At level 87 we go kill some Star Force monsters after getting 5 Star Force on some fodder items for faster leveling. Make sure though to participate in Sia Her support event as well. You get various rewards at different levels, including a Fafnir set at level 150 and of course a lot of useful rewards past level 200. With the 4th job advancement, we get another stellar marking. This one is called Link and heals 10% of your HP, but it has a 10-second cooldown. Using just Link also triggers the constellation skill Saddle Melek, which grants 2 seconds of invincibility and reduces incoming damage by 20% for 12 seconds. If you don't want to accidentally activate the skill when you just want a quick heal, you can right click it in the skill window so you can only activate it manually. You do lose out on an additional bonus second of invincibility if you do this though. We get 2 more fusion skills, which to be honest are pretty awesome, but wow, my brain is a bit tired from working a full-time job. I'm creating videos on the side and then also entertaining my 11-month-old baby, and apparently my wife doesn't want to play MapleStory with me all day either, so I just use those skills as is. Especially once you get your hyper skills and 5th job skills, which can also be triggered on the stellar board, it's quite a few combos to learn. Also, don't worry too much about messing up your combos. If you use Ray and the down key, you can wipe your stellar board and try again. I used level up potions and strawberry farm tickets that I saved from the previous event to get up to level 200 a bit faster. Also, you get a new buff with your 4th job advancement. Appear increases final damage by 10% for 10 seconds, woohoo! It has a 120 second cooldown as well. I did get some buff duration increase on my inner ability though, because I thought it would be quite useful for this class. Your active hyper skills are 1 damage buff as always, and 2 more fusion skills. A big anchor that deals damage to nearby enemies. It lasts for 8 seconds if you use the skill as is, and 15 seconds if you fuse it through the stellar marking skill. And you get another critical rate and critical damage buff. If you activate this one the hard way, you get 10% more critical damage, which is also pretty worth it. These are the passive skills I went with. More damage and an extra line for marking attacks. Boom, link, pull, etc. 10% more damage on my constellation attacks, and get appear enhanced to get an additional 10% more final damage when you use the buff, and appear cooldown cutter so you can get your final damage buff more often. I think this is pretty optimal, but let me know if you have a different opinion. Sia, her 5th job though, that's pretty nice. She gets a bind skill called Time Binder. Her Savior's Circle skill boosts some of her constellation skills and increases boss damage. She can also summon a big wolf that deals damage to monsters for 12 seconds and increases ignored defense by 5%. Her new 5th job skill Shine marking is needed to summon the wolf the hard way, and Shine itself gives a buff for 20 seconds, causing fusion effects to always activate when completing a constellation skill. This actually is pretty sick. So if you use Shine and you then use a constellation skill the lazy way by just double clicking the skill or tapping it, whatever you do, you'll get the additional effect like bonus attacks, stats, duration, etc, as if you're using the actual stellar marking board. So for your big burst, you first pop Shine and then you go wild with all your buffs and attack using them the easy way. For example, I use Shine and then Alchina will boost my magic attack even though I use the skill as is. I used a whole bunch of EXP vouchers and level up potions to get Sia to the level that she is right now. Just a friendly warning here, Sia, her XP vouchers from the Formalhound rewards are not tradable within the account at the moment. It does say they are, but then you claim them and then whoops, they're not. I just got them and I can only use them on Sia. There also are a lot of cosmetic rewards and additional rewards available for 25k Enish cash and 15k Enish cash. You even get bonus EXP and you get so many rewards if you buy the 25k pass. I think that's pretty worth it if you're interested in spending Enish cash and showing some love for Sia. I'm a free-to-play player myself, so I will definitely skip this. Sia is an amazing grinder. She's definitely not a chill grinder though. You gotta constantly keep up with your summons and placements. It's pretty fun in my opinion, a bit more active, and I'm sure it will feel okay once you get a good rhythm with your timings. I do recommend getting decent speed infusion ASAP, as this will make her attacking speed feel a lot better. It will also help you trigger your constellation skills faster. Her bossing is fun. She's not an easy bosser though, especially if you want to be optimal with your damage rotation. The short duration on her buffs and skills means you gotta stay focused all the time, refreshing everything, making sure everything is up and dealing damage. Skill sequence will make it a lot easier for her to pull off her burst though. I thought she was pretty strong. I was able to defeat Chaos Zakum in just a few minutes with these stats while I was still trying to figure out what the best bossing strategy was, so I died a couple of times as well. I think she's a pretty decent class and not bad for MapleStory Global's first fully exclusive class, at least for now, and of course not counting MapleStory Mobile. So did you already try out the Sia class? And let me know what you think of her in the comments. And that's all I had for today. I hope this video was useful and that you now know a bit more about Sia. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, special thanks to our members making these videos possible. Special thanks to Niels de Comic, Rama Waar, Sebastian Hanoi, Cowdy Mora, Wine Lee, Backspace OTI, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Knifesu, Cloudfix, Michael Menchaka, Ratius, Betrayal 1489, Silvio Nato, Striker Elk, Ricer RU, Max Bernhardt, The Passenger, Scotty Flies Fast, Only, Spatsty, Snaffupop, Dewey Tran, Kanye Wu, Domi Kirch Nehammer, Dex Zoo, Dante Victory, The Wolf Drake, Lord Fazil, Mathenu Dev, Tils Kurspet, DVNCA, and Schwandro. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and happy mapling!